Unmute Teams. Test 1, 2. Hit the master map. Mute. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Do you happen to have?
Test 1, 2.
Just waiting for Superintendent Haber, and then we'll start.
There's lozenge in my mouth.
Thank you for your patience. We're running just a little behind today, so just 1 minute, we'll start. This meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Vice President Cons,
Here.
Director Wilburn,
Here.
Director Yanez,
Here.
Director Payne,
Here.
President Shandy.
Here. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Director Payne today.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our Board of Education meeting tonight. We're excited to start our gathering by celebrating our outstanding faculty, staff, and students of D20. Their hard work deserves our recognition, so we encourage people to applaud during this celebration. So let's get started. Mrs. Ruckman, are there any updates to our agenda?
There were updates to the agenda and the board has been made aware of these.
Members of the board, are there any items you wish to remove from consent agenda? Okay. Are there any discussion items to be added to the agenda? May we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Cons,
Aye.
Director Wilburn,
Aye.
Director Yanez,
Aye.
Director Payne,
Aye.
President Shandy.
Aye. All right, board comments. Does anyone have anything to share for board comments tonight? I feel like we all have stuff to share, so this might take a minute. Director Yanez.
Well, to my fellow educators, I want to say Happy New Year. Our calendar runs August through July, as we know. And if you feel like you have been bitten by a tsetse fly and have sleeping sickness, you do not. It is actually just the first week of school. As we all know, I went home so tired. I just want to share a little story. Today, I saw a newer teacher who seemed a little teary. And I went over to her and I said, "Are you okay? How can I help?" And she said, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And I said, "Well, what's wrong?" Although I could have maybe made my own internal list of things for her. And she said, "I just haven't figured out all their names yet. I don't know all their names. Can you print me a roster so that I can go home and study them tonight?" And that was it for me. Pretty much lost it. Her heart for kids is so huge. So are many of yours and yours. And I just was impacted by that greatly as I drove over here. And I thought, that is what this is all about. I just want to know all their names.
Thank you, Director Yanez. Director Cons, Vice President Cons. It's been a long day, so please forgive me.
Okay, thank you, President Shandy. I have a number of things. I'll try to be brief. I want to thank our Secretary Cheryl and Superintendent Haber's Secretary Brittany for all their support today. I mean, we started at 9 a.m. this morning and they were there a lot earlier than that, and she's still here. So thanks for your support for all of our meetings today. I want to thank Becky Harris. I don't know if she's here, but I just had a wonderful time with her yesterday. Missed you, Ms. Allen, but I got to spend time with Becky touring schools. I'm sure we'll all kind of chat about that a little bit more at some point. But I almost want to say that's like my second favorite part of board. You know, our first is often graduations, but just to connect with cabinet members. You know, I've gotten to be with a few of you over the years, and it's a delight to just personally connect and just share our families and our lives for a few hours. So thank you all, cabinet and executives, for doing that with us. There's not a lot of folks here today, but for anyone who's here, whoever's online, our last special meeting became very brief after we removed an item. Necessarily, we had to, a lot of other stuff dropped off. And I just want to let the community know that we are continuing the conversation on, the umbrella term is on policy governance, really. And we discussed this morning, and some of our community members heard that in our board retreat this morning, that there are a lot of dynamic issues in this day and age that require community input, and the board is the voice of the community. But I don't want to say a lot because we want to be very minimal on anything having to do with operations and administration. But I just want the community to know that that was the genesis of just trying to share the community's values, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do that. So that's all we're doing. We weren't trying to micromanage at all. None of us want that. But there's just a few key issues that come up every once in a while that the board wants to collaborate with Superintendent Haber on, just sharing those values. So we are looking to schedule a roundtable discussion with some key perspectives for our September study session, pending those folks' schedules. I just want our community to know that that's going to be our next discussion to talk about policy governance. And then we will keep on the agenda every month just being able to view all the administrative policy changes or new policies that have come about. This was always the case. It was just every 6 months before. And that list was so cumbersome and long for the community and the board to look through. So this is just going to be more transparent and give public commenters and the board a chance to check in with those administrative policies if we ever have any questions about them. Let's see. I'm just going to give my little rah-rah for all the parents listening to spread the word to all of your parent peers and friends, to encourage each other to work with your schools this year and all years, to make it the most successful year possible for your students and your families. Everything from driving and drop-off safety to cell phone policies, reading all your emails, please, from your schools and your teachers and your district, reading all your Monday folder stuff, to studying and helping your kids. So we just encourage everyone in our community to be, to partner with all of your school friends to make it safe and successful. And finally, we all got to visit our schools yesterday. And it was just a number of us, Ms. Story and I were just talking, a number of us just felt an incredible energy and calmness, peace, excitement, if you can have calm and excitement at the same time, but we know what it means. The principals and the teachers felt really good yesterday. And I just want to say I'm so happy for all of them. I'm so grateful for all of them. Just for creating the cultures and the wonderful classrooms and schools. They noted increased parent involvement at their schools, increased enrollment at some of their schools, more support for behavior issues, from our SPED team, from all over the place. So I just want to share with all of our staff that this board is so supportive of all of you for living out our mission in educating students to thrive beyond our district walls. And we support you, especially in the myriad forms that these manifest in each unique school. Thank you.
Director Payne or Director Wilburn, who would like to go next? Director Payne.
It's a rookie move. Thanks. I want to just echo what you all said, because yesterday going to the schools, and thank you, Dr. Susan Field, for driving Miss Daisy around the district and being able to see actually what is happening in our schools. You could actually feel it. You could see, from the minute we got into Rampart and the band was playing and the pride with all the students and seeing the principal out there directing traffic, the many hats they wear, along with all of the teachers standing at the door, having that opportunity to walk those hallways, to me, that was just so powerful. And seeing that incredible effort put into the first day for students, the culture and climate just felt so wonderful. So I want to just honor all of those. I got to go to Rampart, but I got to continue on to, I think it's 9 other schools. Yes, 8? 7. Oh, wow. It felt like a lot. Okay. Wow. Anyway, I have them before me, but I also got the opportunity to see in our elementaries the PBS at work. You got to see them implementing it, teaching them around the school. So sometimes we have these conversations academically on a research basis, but when you actually see it boots on the ground and you see what they're doing and you see those little kids coming to school and so happy and so tired. We all felt the tiredness at 7 a.m. But I wanted to also say, I was so inspired when Dr. Field took me, and I want to make sure I get this right. Was it Pioneer? And we went to Pioneer and we could see their efforts in their challenges and their reading and the amount of incredible comprehensive work going into that was just so inspiring to me. I said, could I bring visitors to come see this? Because it really is amazing to see what's taking place and to hear that we have, and I can't say numbers because they'll truly come out by the staff, but the number of students being choiced into these schools and the reputation that they have, it's really what we're trying to preserve with District 20, the great things that have been done for our children that have come before them and then for the future generations. So I did want to bring that up. One of the things I did want to follow up on that Director Cons brought up was, at that last board meeting, we had a lot of people that took their time out of their evening to come and see the concerns about the agenda, and seeing this whole process unfold from a director on the board seat has been very unique for me. But also, there's some of the things that are difficult is how do we all communicate with one another? And what I've learned is that we have, Colorado Springs is a big city, but it's still, for all of us that have lived here, it's still a small town. And so I just wanted to address some of the feedback that I got in the aftermath of that meeting by going to talk to some of the teachers that came that night and people, and that's what I really want to make sure that we can have those conversations, was one, that there was a concern that maybe the board was trying to limit what plays could be in schools or take some type of a power grab for that. And then the other thing was that maybe we were looking at eliminating PE and the position of PE teachers. So the reason I'm sharing that is not to increase false narratives in the community, but to say that when that feedback was shared, one of the opportunities I've had is to say, and hopefully if anyone's listening, that is not the case. That was never the case, and alleviate those fears. And anybody that has questions along those lines, we're happy to have those dialogues. But that's just very sincere on my heart. But I would encourage anybody, but just want to say thank you to the staff, to the schools I got to go to, the amazing welcome, the amazing young people in the schools, and just seeing the staff really stepping up to the plate. And I have to even say the facilities looked beautiful, like just seeing the grounds and the pride in our schools, because some of them are older, and just seeing the work that went into getting ready for that first day of school. So thank you.
Director Wilburn.
Thank you, President. I've had several firsts in the last 36 hours. Just got a chance to, for the first time in my life, laid eyes on and shook the hand of our new liaison to USAFA, Colonel Herndon. Welcome. Looking forward to getting to know you and working with you. As you know, you've got big shoes to fill, and no question that you're going to be able to do that in a huge kind of way. Yesterday, myself and Mr. Smart visited schools. I have the Air Academy feeder strand, so we were on the west of I-25 for the most part. It may have been the first time I've ever ridden in an electric vehicle. Very well may have been. I thought about that all night last night. I think that was the first time. And also got a chance for the first time to meet our amazing new principal at Air Academy High School, Amy, who I think we're going to hear from tonight. Are we? I don't know, but got a chance to meet her fresh off the boat from Iowa. Very impressive individual, also with big shoes to fill, and also going to do an amazing job. Looking forward to that. So I want to pick up on something that both directors, Cons and Payne, have said. And I also got a very similar message that it's bouncing around in the D20 echo chamber that this board is looking to issue a list of approved plays or plays that cannot be put on and all that stuff. Absolutely not true. We've never had that discussion, not one time. I don't know that we ever will. I don't want to see that done. I don't want to micromanage to that degree. It's simply never happened. And what happens oftentimes is, in all circles of life, things make it onto the internet and then bounce around within a certain corridor and become de facto truth, whether it's actually happened or been said or not. I hope that the principals get a hold of this portion of the meeting and speak to their teachers in the fine arts and let them know that it is simply not true. All we really want to do is see to it you have the resources you need to put on the best productions possible. We want to make sure we have budget to pay to replace your curtains on the stages. or to clean the ones you've got if they don't need replacing. That's what we're focused on, not on weeding out and producing material, doing your job for you. Have no interest in that. We've never discussed getting rid of policy governance. We don't want to do that. Is it time to revisit some things? Sure, but that's a part of what we do. I mean, we revisit stuff all the time, but it just gets bounced around that this is what this board wants to do. And we don't want to do those things. Getting rid of physical education, I'm the last person in the world who would ever be supportive of the idea of ridding our schools, of any schools, of physical education. Extremely important component. I naturally skinny, naturally high metabolism. When I was in school, I needed that release. If I didn't have gym class, things didn't go well for me the second half of the day, period. But if I didn't have gym class in the morning, it wasn't going to be a good afternoon. I recognize the value. We all recognize the value of physical education. We would never want to get rid of that. But somehow it just gets out there that this is what we're up to when we really aren't. And if as members of the community, you have those concerns, rather than talking to people from whom you got that information, ask us. Are you putting forth a list of approved plays? Are you contemplating getting rid of physical education? These are easy questions to answer. No, we're not. So welcome, my friend. Welcome. Looking forward to working with you both.
All right. Yes, I was going to also welcome you, Colonel. Welcome to the seat, and just look forward to getting to know you and working together. So, and for you, Colonel, and public, each board member, every school in D20, including charter schools, is split up amongst the 5 of us. We each take a strand, a high school strand, and all its feeder schools, plus, you know, a charter school or so. And we are the liaison for that school. I've learned that not everybody knows that we do that. So I wanted to explain what we were kind of talking about. She's gonna, not yet. Yes, no, you're good. Sorry. So it's so valuable. Yesterday was so incredible because there were principals that I have never met that are either new or, you know, since I've been seated, and some schools I had not been in before. And just to be able to go in, see the schools, look the principal in the eye, get to know them, have a great conversation, say, how can I support you? You know, what questions do you have, or things like that. It's just incredible. It is a long day, and it's tiring and all that, but it's so valuable. I absolutely love it. And then every time I get to go into the school with Superintendent Haber after that for our school visits, it's just building upon that relationship. And so I do appreciate Mrs. Ruckman, and I don't know Brittany's last name, Brittany, for putting that, Hatfield, for putting that together and everything. So thank you very much. I think that's it. So let's see here. Superintendent Haber, it's your turn. Comments?
So, let's see. IT, can you pull up the PowerPoint? Is that right?
I just realized I didn't give Colonel a chance to talk. Colonel, would you like to say?
Actually, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I've got a whole thing here. All right. So I just need, and can I go to my first, I need my first slide, please, not the last one. Thank you. There we go. Let's go up. Yeah, let's go to the beginning. There we go. So we have so much to celebrate, even at the beginning of the year. And we have 2 of our D20 coins to give out, which we don't give out very often, but we do for high honors and things that we really want to celebrate. So first, welcome Colonel Herndon. I'd like to read his bio if I could. He is our new USAFA liaison. Colonel Herndon, right, is the Deputy Commander of the 10th Air Base Wing for the U.S. Air Force Academy. He directs a team of more than 3,000 military, civilian, and contractor airmen who deliver civil engineering, integrated base defense, communications, logistics, contracting, chaplaincy, legal, medical, force support, and USAFA band capabilities to mission partners. That is quite a list. The 10th Air Base Wing supports more than 4,000 cadets and a total military community of over 25,000 personnel, executing $150 million operating budget. He hails from Raleigh, North Carolina, and earned his bachelor's degree and commission at the East Carolina University, Greenville, North Carolina, via the Reserve Officer Training Corps program. He holds a Master of Public Administration from Webster University and a Master of Science in National Security Strategy via the National War College. For more than 20 years, Colonel Herndon has served in a variety of positions to include key national security assignments at the Office of Secretary of Defense, Office of the Secretary of the Air Force, U.S. Strategic Command, U.S. Pacific Air Forces in Afghanistan, and the U.S. Department of State. We are so grateful to have you be our board liaison this year. So welcome, and we'd love for you to come out. We'd like to present you with our coin and take a picture with you. Another coin too, but I think I'll just ask her to do it at the end. Yeah. All right. And again, welcome, Colonel Herndon. We're so excited to have you. And it was fun to be able to spend some time with you at the backpack ceremony. Is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Just really excited to be here. I'm the son of an educator of over 30 years, my mother Ann, and so to have the opportunity to join you all and to be a liaison for USAFA is going to be an outstanding kind of ride. And so we're really excited about this season of education and the journey ahead, and look forward to being as transparent as possible. And I would say on behalf of General Bauernfein and Colonel Brown,
Yeah.
the 10th Air Base Wing Commander, we are on your wing.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. That is awesome. Let's give a hand for that again. We also have another wonderful celebration, and I see that she is here with her family. Congratulations to Pine Creek High School junior Anushka Nandwalker. She placed the top 3 in the world at the 24-25 HOSA Future Health Professionals International Leadership Conference. She competed in health career photography against 200 plus students from the United States and abroad, including China, Mexico, and America Samoa. And she was the only Colorado high schooler to place in the top 3 in any event. And you're in attendance. Would you please stand up so that we can give you a round of applause? And Anushka, we'd like you to stay because we also have one of our Board of Education coins to present you with. And we want to be sure to take a good picture with you guys too. All right. So next. Future Business Leaders of America. Huge congratulations to Academy District 20 Future Business Leaders of America students and advisors from Pine Creek High School, Discovery Canyon, Campus High School, Rampart, Air Academy High School, and Liberty, who traveled to California this summer and competed in national events like accounting, economics, sports, and entertainment management, IT, and more. And they won within the top 1st to 5th places in all of those different categories. And of course, our first and second day of school was so much fun, and you guys have already talked about it. I got to go to Liberty twice, and I will tell you the clap-in with the freshmen was amazing. But going the second day, they get all the students in the gym, and you know, you've got your freshmen and your sophomores and your juniors, and they do the cheer, who's going to cheer the loudest. And then they turn that way down the lights and they go, now our 25 seniors. And they literally go in a stampede with the lights, like little flashlights, and they go through and they're cheering. And I was jazzed for the whole day after that. It was really amazing. So just some fun pictures, first day of school. I did catch the kindergarten parents saying goodbye to their kids, and I got a little choked up and couldn't stay there very long, but it was very touching. The kids were ready to go. I think it was parents that were, it's that big milestone in our lives as parents. Special education spotlight. So we did get a few inquiries in about the use of the idea that we want to continue to work on our special ed narrative. So I just want to clarify the language in that. And that is, if you look up the word narrative, the meaning is to tell the whole story. And we want to make sure we're telling the whole story about the amazing opportunities that we have for our students in our special education programs, which we'll be highlighting for the superintendent update, but also the whole story is to also talk about challenges. So it was a request by the board at the end of last year to have once a quarter have a special education update. So on that once a quarter update, we will also be sharing not only the celebrations, but some of the challenges and what we've put in place to do that. I will also say it was really great to hear from Dr. Belinda Lujan-Lindsay about all that we're doing around paraprofessionals. And that's just a great highlight of the work that we're doing. And that suggestion about paraprofessional mentoring came from you guys. That came from the board, that suggestion. So just know we listen and we follow up, and you are leading in many important ways here in D20. We had a chance, Director Yanez and I, this summer to go to the Special Olympics Colorado Foundation. They had a nice breakfast, and Pine Creek was selected as their community champion for their incredible commitment to inclusion, unity, and community impact. And Director Shandy and Director Wilbur and I, we had a chance to go to one of their unified basketball games last year, which was a lot of fun. Pine Creek has fully inclusive, unified approach, extends far beyond their campus. They actively engage in events across Colorado Springs and the state, raising awareness and funds, not just for their school, but for local nonprofits as well. And Pine Creek is a true model of what we mean around connectedness with our community. We also agreed, and this was a suggestion from the board, and that is to start highlighting our strategic plan and related to some of the events and things that are happening in our district. So a huge thank you to Brittany, Cheryl, and Brianna. They had a chance to go to COSA, they learned so many amazing things there. They have a chance to get together with all the other administrative assistants of superintendents across the state. And so I am so glad that you had a chance to do that. And they went deeper with topics like Robert's Rules of Order and other key governance topics. And they came back with some great suggestions. So I appreciate you guys going to that. And then this summer, I had a chance to go to Breckenridge to the CASE School Executive, Colorado Association of School Executive Conference, and had a chance to sit with principals the first day. It was just a fun picture that we took there with Becky Buchanan, Laura Perez, Jackie Hansen, Kristen Driver, which is the photobomb one there. She's so awesome. Cheryl Dahl and Julie Murray. And I just had a great time spending time with folks from D20, as well as really connecting with my colleagues across the state. I learned so much from them. And as I shared with you, I went to 2 different sessions on AI, one put on by Canyon City and one put on by Denver Public Schools, and got some good ideas, I think, of how we can continue to enrich what we're doing around AI. And that's where I found out about that amazing grant writer. And a huge shout out to the superintendent at Canyon City. He's shared that grant writer information with me. We already had one session with her, and we've got some great ideas, and she's ready to go to help us out with that. So that was, you never know what kind of connections or things will come from these conferences. Lead team retreat, huge thank you to Susan and her team, Dr. Field. Just put so much time and energy into putting our lead team retreat together. I had a chance to talk about vision and culture in our portrait of a graduate. Down there, we had competitions for the activities, and these were the different activities. And that was the winning team. And one of them, of course, included axe throwing. We have miniature golf down there on the right, and it was just a really fun time and such an important team building time. So thank you, Susan, for coming. And I think you had a good time. She even had like this glow in the dark kind of ring that she won in miniature golf. So I was kind of jealous, but that's all right. Job fair, huge shout out to Cameron and his team, the HR team. They've hosted their job fair. We had one of the largest turnouts ever, 241 candidates who attended. And with our previous one, we only had about 180 candidates. So that's awesome. And I know, Mr. Smart, you are following up with tracking how many people that we hired and where we're going with that. I know you're pretty excited about that. So thank you. Do you have something you want to share? Look like you
No,
wanna
I'll just say
something.
thanks. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we do that each year, try to track how many we actually hire from each event. And so far, I think we're at double digits so far, maybe over 10 so far, and still processing folks as we speak. So thanks.
Yes. New licensed staff we had all kinds of orientations for administrators, licensed staff, and thank you, Amy. You knew you were able to attend that for a while. It was at Pine Creek. Pine Creek, their band was there. It was so fun. I was just so enthralled with the band that I almost forgot to go inside to be able to give a presentation about culture, but they were amazing. And over on the right, it's just, I look forward to this every year just to spend time with our new teachers and hear their feedback and just be able to start those important connections. We also met with our classified staff and did a welcome with them. And I love being able to just go table to table and start building those connections with our classified staff. Back to school rally, thank you, all of you. That was just, we were saying, and a huge shout out to Mark Belcher and his team. And just all the work goes into it. I know you guys are already planning the one for next year. We were saying, at least, you know, since we've all been here, I think this is one of our best years ever. And as you know, we had some amazing speakers. We had Shivam Singh from Pine Creek High School, Maddie Sprints from Rampart, and certainly Mr. Jack O'Neill, who was fantastic as well. And he was a 2021 Village High School graduate and a Paralympian, I think, who left all of us inspired. And yes, Shivam and I definitely rocked the D20 sunglasses, just couldn't resist. So, and I just love these pictures of our teachers. There was great energy. You can't not have a good time doing the YMCA at least once. But I would like to just kind of share, and this is really a thank you to, I know Crystal Beatty does a lot of work around this and the whole team. Just a quick video if you haven't had a chance to see it. Do you want to start that up for us, Mark? Do I just click again? Nope. Is it going? There we go. Sound. Yep, there we go.
I'm incredibly grateful and deeply honored to stand before you today at the beginning of another exciting school year.
Every moment you invest in students leaves an impact upon us. That extra explanation after class, it matters. The smile in the hallway, it matters. The patience, the encouragement, and the belief in us, it all matters.
I especially want to thank everyone here in attendance because you, in this new school year, are going to make an impact.
But on your tough days, remind yourself, every day is an opportunity to achieve something with someone.
Thrilled to serve alongside you for the 25-26 school year. We have great opportunities ahead, and I am certain that as a Team One, we will establish that high level and lasting true student success for all. So let's give it up for making this the best school year ever.
So again, thank you so much, comm team, and for putting that together, and just for an amazing event. So I'm gonna move on here. So this is just really a shout out to the Penrose, to the Elpamar Foundation. This is the second year that we've had board meetings there. We had our cabinet retreat. So I just wanted to give a shot to that wonderful room. Plus, we didn't take other pictures because we agreed to have a morning, kind of a cell phone free morning, which is why you just kind of see it empty because it was right as we were leaving. But I just really appreciate them. We spent the morning there. It's just such a beautiful facility, and I'm so thankful that we have that opportunity. So we're always looking for different events that are going on, and all of these examples are around our community partnerships, that sense the goals that we've set around community partnerships and connectedness. So this was fun. This was Explore Elementary principal, Ms. Driver, and assistant principal, Ms. Lovato. They hit the road in their brightly decorated popsicle car for a new neighborhood tradition, popsicles with the principals. They made 3 stops through the nearby neighborhoods to hand out free popsicles and personally greet students and families ahead of the new school year. Families gathered at each location to reconnect, share summer stories, and enjoy the simple joy of a frozen treat on a warm day. And I want to say a thank you to Megan Garlow Evelo, our school liaison at USAFA. Do you want to stand up, Megan? I just want to say thank you. Let's give her a hand. Every year she helps to coordinate this back to school backpack event. And I had so much fun because I got to share. They had keychains, but it was so brilliant. And the people are so excited where it was the keychain that had the little cleaner for the screens. I'm like, I want one of those. And it had Doug Valley on it and Doug Valley's information. So the parents wanted that because the phone numbers are on that. So thank you so much for that. And I had a wonderful time also to connect more with Colonel Herdon. And it was just a great event, and it was fun to meet all of our families. And before I talk about this, I also want to do a shout out to Deputy Becky Allen and her team. This year, we launched a brand new food service program or company, and that's Airmark. And Becky's put in over 100 hours with her team to help to get this up and running. And so I just personally want to thank you for that, Deputy Allen. And the food that we had today was their first board dinner, and they have offered graciously to offer the board dinners for free for the rest of the year, as well as we did some other negotiation with them that was awesome. So I think that dinner was amazing. I don't know about you, but like that cream spinach, I want the recipe for that. It's so good. So thank you. Oh yes, the mousse. Yes. Yeah. And like Shane, I think just had dessert. I think he had maybe 1 or 2. I don't know. I didn't even see you take any spinach. So, and last,
I want to tell you, you're welcome. Okay. This was first asked of Director Cons, and she chose like the chicken fingers and French fries.
Oh,
and I said, look at this menu. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
And that's how we ended up with our cream spinach and chicken marsala.
Very good. Director Wilbur.
How was it under the bus there, Nicole?
We're going to help you. We're going to have you pick every menu because that was awesome. And then last, this Saturday, I spent time with our wonderful PTA representatives from El Paso County and Jackie Lesh and Shani Hugh. And it was just a great time to talk about, especially the wonderful opportunities that we have with CTE and some of the questions they had. And I just look forward to that every year, being able to connect with their parents. So that is the end of my.
Thank you, Superintendent Haberer. All right, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda as posted.
Moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Cons,
Aye.
Director Wilburn,
Aye.
Director Yanez,
Aye.
Director Payne,
Aye.
President Shandy.
Aye. All right, there are 12 people viewing the live stream right now. We are going to take a 10-minute break to take pictures with our wonderful students, and see you back in 10. 30-second warning. All right, we are back. Thank you so much. It's always incredibly inspiring to begin our meeting by celebrating the hard work and achievements of our D20 students, faculty, and staff. So great to do that. Now we transition into our business portion of our meeting, a time for thoughtful discussion and decision making. Out of respect for this focus, we ask that applause be held during this part of the session as we shift our attention to the important work ahead. Thank you so much. There are no items pulled from the consent agenda. We'll start with written reports, monitoring report for executive limitations policy 2.6, financial planning and budgeting. Does anyone have any questions or comments besides myself? Nobody. Okay. My only question, comment thing is after just looking through it, part of our focus that we have said that we work really hard to do is to ensure that stewardship of resources for long-term success. I appreciate Director Allen, or Becky Allen, Mrs. Allen. What do you want me to call you today? It's one of those days.
Becky.
Becky. Okay. I appreciate the categories list and the document that was supplied to that. The only thing that I would ask in that all of these categories, and again, in the nature of trying to ensure stewardship of resources for long-term success, that there is no category line item for legal, and I would like to add that to our categories. We need a whole picture in what we're doing financially. I don't know who to look at. So I would ask that we add legal to those categories. Does anyone have discussion or comments about that?
Deputy Allen, do you have something you want to add to that?
I probably would just, as we move forward, get some clarity around that. I know that there is a report being presented in September that is very comprehensive regarding, I know that Mrs. Thompson is putting that together. So my only question might be the information in EL 2.6. What would that look like in comparison to the report that you're receiving in September?
Well, it might be similar. It just is ongoing, like these categories are. Like we get updated on these categories routinely. I think it just needs to be part of that same picture. So we have the whole picture.
Okay.
If
I have a question in the future about what it looks like, may I please ask?
Absolutely.
To make sure that I provide the information that you're interested in.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And looking through here, I think all the other departments, and my teammates can help me here, I think all the other departments and components of a district are included in the categories. It's just that one that is not. So,
and I think we'll have to think about that because the report that you're receiving in September, when there are legal fees, sometimes those legal fees, they'll show up in different budgets because that's the budget. It's an HR legal fee. It's a special education legal fee. It might be a legal fee in my area. I'm making this up. We haven't done this, but we have a real estate transaction and perhaps I needed, so it will have to maybe be presented separately.
Or maybe we can figure out a way to categorize it or something, or tag it as legal, or
we'll come up maybe with some ideas and then get feedback.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I do. Ms. Allen, just as usual, these are amazing reports that your team produces. I think this budget was 59 pages. A little detail is working through it just gives me I tweak out just reading it. I can't imagine writing it. But amazing stuff. The budget on page 12 and 13, so that's where we get into high priority facility needs. And high priority facility needs is kind of, I don't know, subjective. I mean, I don't even know exactly how to phrase the question. So something like custodial cleaning supplies. Well, obviously that's a high priority. We got to maintain sanitary conditions. But the cost associated with that is going to be fairly low. Whereas replacing fields that have turf that have that'll be on their useful life, that's going to be expensive. So when we're talking about high priority facility needs, how do your team do you rely on the principals? Where does that come from? Am I making any sense?
It is. You know, we are actually working on a refined. We've picked a school and used it as an example to an elementary school to develop a new system where we would go ahead and log all of the needs. So let's say, for example, a water heater. So there's actually a water heater that we are replacing at one of our schools. So that would go on the list. However, it would have a target timeline of when it's due. And so as each year passes, 15 years then goes to 14 to 13 and new things get added. And so that life of that, and that's a new method that we're using to build. And it's probably going to take us a year to 18 months by the time we complete that process with every school. We think that will be a more even accurate way to easily run a report. What are the things that are most necessary right now? Now, please don't let that make you worry that we don't have anything now. We have a very long, comprehensive facility master list, and but we want to get better at how we can generate data regarding those pieces. And again, it's a system there when the year changes, so do all those lives of all the useful life and when, so you can better anticipate what's coming up, what's necessary now. But that process is ongoing. Because the minute that you think you have a perfect list, something blows out. Today, I was on the phone with Mr. Redmond about a water heater that I just had an issue in one of our kitchens, caused that to say, so now a new item gets listed. And it's all about that team. We've got Mike Redmond as our director for facilities, Peter Ristig, who is our executive director for operations. And it's that whole team, Dan Moores, come together and evaluate the need just like you would in your home. If you have 5 things you need to do and enough money for 3, you prioritize the ones that need it the most. Something like a leaky roof, when you have, pots and pans out catching the rain, it's going to be heavier than maybe paint the siding. Both are important, but we have limited funds, right? We can't certainly address everything. So it's about looking at the impact, the cost, and what is the useful life, and again, what is the impact if that fails? And so there's a number of things that get looked at to really prioritize those items.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, is the superintendent's interpretation of the policy reasonable? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section?
Yes.
Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? Would you like to see additional different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next monitoring report cycle? I would say adding legal to the categories to be reported on the cycle. Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? All right. Monthly financial report through June 2025. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Director Wilburn?
So Ms. Allen, it undoubtedly is my ignorance of accounting. So that there's a big change in numbers, if I'm reading this right. So for fiscal year 24-25, the mid-year budget showed a decrease of about 13.4 million in the unassigned fund balance. And then June 30, 2025, the unassigned fund balance showed a decrease of only about 5.2 million. So that's good, right? I mean, but that's a big number. What is that? Is that from state?
No, so the projection, what we had in our mid-year budget was consuming about $13.4 million of our unassigned fund balance. So as we are moving through the year, keep in mind that our budgeting is we are conservative. Okay, so I'm going to assume Every position is filled every hour of every workday. That is the largest portion of our budget. It's over 70%. So it's not necessarily a great thing when we have unfilled positions. On the one hand, oh, we spent less money, but on the other hand, that means there was impact at buildings. And that's where our teachers, our staff are putting in extra. So let's just do the math for a minute. It gives you a little bit of insight. So the budget showed 13.4 million in consumption. We're projecting, this isn't going to be exact. This is just our projection at this point. We're still closing out our books, only using 5.2 million. Well, the delta on that is about $8 million. What is interesting is that our salary budget decreased by about 7.8 million. So that pretty much is the bulk of that difference. And again, yes, you saved money. I would rather see all those positions filled. And, you know, Cameron and his team are working really hard to get those positions filled, but it adds up when you look at the scope of our whole district. Even 100 people who weren't there a week. I mean, it adds up quickly. So that really is a symptom, if you will, of the bulk is that 7.8 million. That about represents what that delta is.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you. Building fund update. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the building fund update? Nope. All right. Parent Academy sessions for 2025, 2026. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No. Yes, Dr. Field's report. Director Wilburn.
Yeah, Dr. Field, this was great. I was really surprised when the least attended was the dangers of vaping. I kind of thought it would be because some things don't affect this family, some things do affect that family, right? But everyone's concerned that their kids not sticking these things in but there's hardly any people that went to that. What did it snow that day, or just not that much interest? Do you remember?
Andy might know. Andy Reskin is our director for literacy. She and Julie Hendrickson helped me with our parent academies. Do you have any feedback for Mr. Wilborn?
Crush your toes. Hold your breath.
La la la.
Okay, good. There you
go. You know, it might have been the time of year. It was the last one. It wasn't a snow day. It was a lovely evening. The sun was setting later. It's interesting that we have found just the past few years that I've been doing this, that it's almost like negative things or kind of bummer kind of topics have been producing less participants. So I'm not sure if that's why. But we had a great expert talk. We had about 10 people come and they had great questions, but I'm not quite sure. Although, yes, we have seen when the topic is kind of worded in a negative way, rather, so perhaps instead wording something more like how to keep your student involved in healthy activities, right? Like more people tend to be coming to those types of sessions. Instead.
That's interesting feedback. Yeah, because the average attendance was around 45, 50.
Yeah,
a couple of them had over 100, and then that one only had like 10 people. It just really, it was an outlier that jumped off.
It was a big drop off. And again, it was February, so I don't know. It was dark and cold and people didn't want to talk about vaping.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Very good. All right. Any other questions, comments? No. Okay. Annual monitoring report for governance process policy 4.0 governance commitment. Does anyone have questions or comments? All right. Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance. Would you like to see additional different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next monitoring report cycle? Do you see any evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? All right. And you get kind of dizzy looking through all of those back and forth. All right, annual monitoring report for governance policy, process policy 4.1, composition of the board. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? Would you like to see additional different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next monitoring report cycle? Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? Okay. Annual monitoring report for governance process policy 4.3, board job description. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Is there sufficient evidence to determine compliance for each section? Are all sections in compliance? Recognition of exemplary performance or concerns regarding performance? Would you like to see additional different evidence, or should any part of this policy be changed in the next monitoring report cycle? Do you see evidence which is extraneous or no longer necessary? All right. Fourth quarter Board of Education discretionary budget update. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay. That brings us to presentations. Report of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, Superintendent Haber.
Deputy Allen. If you would please allow me, you probably saw in consent this evening, obviously you did, a membership report for the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. And I just want to share that before I'm going to say he's still going to be on the CBOC.
I was going to say, I saw that and I was a little
I
concerned.
know, that's why do you notice I kept calling it out? He's still going to be an at-large member. And so it's just important.
That's one way to say it.
Yes, I want to recognize for just a moment David Brockway. He was on from the first day of the CBOC. I have the date right here, April 26th, 2017. He served on the team and then eventually became the co-facilitator, the co-chair. And do you know that he has probably attended 60 CBOC meetings. For some time, the meetings for CBOC were once a month. Then they became quarterly. All the times he held that, he came here and presented, plus attended the 60 meetings. What you need to know, please, about David Brockway is that he truly has a District 20 in his heart. His wife is a teacher at Mountain Ridge, Carrie Brockway, and his children attend, and he has nothing but the best for District 20 in his heart. And he shared his expertise and probably the greatest gift that any of us can give one another, which is time. And I just want to just publicly thank you for the leadership and commitment. And I'm so grateful that you are still going to be on the CBOC. We're excited for Jessica Taverdi. She's a teacher at Foothills Elementary School. She's actually the wife of Mr. Taverdi, who was named as the Volunteer of the Year. But Mr. Brockway, you've been a blessing to this district, and we appreciate you, and you stand for everything that we stand for, which is honesty, kindness, and service to others. So thank you for everything that you have done, and we're just glad that you're still going to be with us in a different capacity. Please.
Oh, thank you very much, Becky. Appreciate that. Glad to be here tonight. Glad for that warm introduction. 2017, because that's been a while. Talking first about the 2016 bond, which was our first topic back in 2017 and subsequently. Not much activity on this. The building fund, I mean, the month over months, and you have it in your reports, 124,000 spent in April. Really just facility projects and things like that. 50,000 one month, close to 50 the next month, and just finishing things up. That bond is now 99.18% funded, and about 2.2 million remains unencumbered. There'll be an audit done, and after that point, the balance of funds reconciled, and any remaining funds would be moved over to the general fund or the capital reserve I think at mid-year in the budget cycle. I think that's in the January 2016.
That's our plan at this point, that when we bring you the mid-year budget in January, that it would close out. We still have to make sure every bill is paid, everything, all of our payroll, everything is perfectly closed. So that would be the only thing that would not cause that to be in the mid-year budget, but that is what I'm anticipating. If not, then it certainly, there's no harm in it being later, but that's what we're thinking at this point. We'll have everything reconciled and paid, all those pieces by then.
And the really great news, my next sentence, all the projects that the voters approved in 2016 have been completed. And if you don't believe me, you've got a sheet of green check marks in your packet. So that's just a really great thing to be able to say.
That's fantastic.
For the 2024 bond, this is getting kicked off as the first tranche got funded earlier in the year of the 40 million. Some of the expenditures that were done in the April timeframe, not much activity there. Really more it was May when things kicked off. About 2.1 of expenditures were made, largely for work being done at TCA. Some of the, I guess we'd call the soft costs, project surveys, geotechnical services, things like that. In addition to work at Rampart High School, I guess that kind of encompassed May and the field for the Rampart High School and a couple of the other smaller projects too. So really about 7% of that money's been expended at this point. But we expect to see more activity on that coming up in the next couple of quarters. And we'll have our next meeting in October, and Jessica will be here probably to present with me. We thought she was tonight, but she'll probably do that at the October meeting, and then she'll be set to fly. So that's good news. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wonderful, thank you. Director Cons, Vice President Cons.
Well, Mr. Brockway, thank you for being here for one more meeting since your co-chairmanship is getting pushed a tiny bit. I just wanted to share, I shared this with Superintendent Haber, that I heard just from thrilled principals yesterday on our visits, the projects. I mean, it's so exciting that this bond, was just sold, the bonds were just sold, what, 5 months ago now, maybe? And the principals are already realizing these projects being complete, at Discovery Canyon Elementary, new playground and turf, and I forget another school, but they're just thrilled. And so thanks to our community for passing the bond. Thanks for the wise management and the expediting of all the projects. It's also thrilling, if we recall from the 2016 bond, I don't remember the number of how much interest we earned, in the millions, I believe, and just how much we were able to do. We were able to revamp Liberty and Rampart's pools, which were not on. I don't think they were on the original bond language. And so just to already see the fruits of that wise investment, that we're going to get to have extra money for pending any crazy worldwide financial stuff. Just that we're going to get to have extra money by your wise investments for projects for our schools. So thanks to you and the community and our CBOC.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Oh, wait, sorry, Director Wilburn.
Thank you both very, very much. This could have been my favorite report to have read in maybe my favorite whatever. All those green check marks going down there and seeing that was incredible. The only thing that I noted on the report, and this dates back to another report earlier tonight, so there may just be a time overlap, a time conflict. The percent spent is 100% for everything virtually except document scanning isn't very close. It only sits at about 13%. But I think document scanning, the scanning is done, but all the money hasn't been spent. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we really don't need all that.
We don't need all that money.
We don't need all that money. We scanned what we needed to for the scope of the work and completed that. But there is a balance remaining. That's a hefty balance.
So that's a chunk of the 2.2 million.
That's correct.
Okay, great, great.
All right, thank you very much. Oh,
Would you please, if I may just have a moment?
Yes.
That great statement that the 2016 bond projects are done. Please allow me to, Chris Garnhart has been there. working so hard. He was a director and now the executive director. And I just don't think for these two gentlemen, they were key. And Chris Garnhart, through COVID and all of that, when supply chain, he still made everything work. And I just can't, I can't really qualify the skills and the heart that both of these gentlemen have. So thank you for
Becky.
letting me say that.
Thank you, gentlemen, really.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Oh, sorry, Director Payne. Wait 1 second. Director Payne.
I was just trying to get there. I just wanted to give you some accolades as well. And Dr. Susan Field yesterday, and in all of the schools that we travel to, the pride of it is so important when we see like the incredible enhancements of facilities, because that's the last thing we want to see. I mean, this is all tied to the community in which we serve and our property values, and you see those enhancements and upgrades. And I mean, we were just giddy in the little library, and I'm still learning the names of the schools, but High Plains, I knew Dr. Fields would be able to help me. But all the things that they pointed out, it just, I really hope we can get photos of it and give a presentation to this community, because the last thing we want is failing schools or crumbling schools, because it will directly affect the community that we live in. So I just couldn't have been more prideful, and I want to thank both of you for all your hard work and all the people that have served on these committees over the years to make it happen, and the voters that supported us, and that financial investment, and the wise use of those funds.
Excellent. Yeah, very good. Be a great report. Okay, now, gentlemen, thank you so much. Oh, wait, no, I'm just kidding.
By the way,
I don't know anything else.
one project that we just finished up on Monday.
Mike.
Rampart High School turf field.
Oh, that's right.
Rampart High School turf field. It looks incredible. So we were able to fit that in and get that.
And that's the 2024 bond.
That is correct.
That's just that's just the
incredible,
project
yeah.
that we just
That's
did.
a
It
very
is
visible
beautiful.
project out of the 2020 bond program. So
Yeah, that's a highlight story. Okay, Mr. Belcher, how many people signed up to speak during public comment section 1?
We have one speaker.
Thank you. The board welcomes the comments of our community members. We greatly value all comments from the public, but in order to adhere to board policy and accomplish the work already on the agenda, the board and superintendent will not respond at the meeting. Speakers may offer appreciation for or criticism of school operations and programs as concern them, but are encouraged to exercise their speech rights responsibly, as they are personally responsible for any legal consequences attributable to their comments, including claims for defamation. Please keep in mind that students often attend board meetings. Speakers' remarks, therefore, should be suitable for an audience that includes kindergarten through 12th grade students, including no use of profanities or obscenities. Comments concerning personnel matters should be directed to the superintendent or board president in writing with your signature. Supplemental written materials can be given to the security guards, and they will be delivered to the board secretary. The board president will recognize each speaker, and consistent with GP 4.04, comments will be curtailed if remarks or behaviors become inappropriate. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a speaker's statement that is unrelated to the business of the school district, inappropriate for K through 12 students, or disruptive to an orderly, civil, and productive meeting. Thank you for cooperation. Mr. Belcher?
Our sole speaker is Alyssa Furia.
As board members, you continue to chip away at our confidence in you. There is no bottom. From joining a lawsuit twice against CHSAA to adopting a resolution that restricts student participation in athletics in direct conflict with the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act and Title IX of the Education Amendments. These are not abstract disagreements, they are violations of state and federal law. Now, your changes to the board meeting agenda policy strike at the core of our First Amendment rights in the Colorado Open Meetings Law. The new rule that only registered speakers may deliver comments, even on behalf of someone else, effectively silences the voices of community members who cannot attend in person and prevents proxy participation, a practice protected under First Amendment principles. In addition, the new language gives the presiding wide discretion to end public comment for exceeding time, non-compliant remarks, or any behavior deemed disruptive. The examples provided, including criticism of school operations or personnel, are so broadly defined that they risk viewpoint discrimination and arbitrary enforcement.
This pattern of unilateral decision-making mirrors other boards' controversial closures and policy overhauls, ignoring sustained public opposition. A pattern that continues as former board members with actual teaching credentials have already warned in their letter to you. Even if tabled, Resolution 248-25, if approved, will bypass public discussion entirely. That is to say that it is an effort to micromanage or disrupt district operations, as you yourselves put, something that may impact voters' views and therefore your ability to be reelected. This is not transparency, it is consolidation of power, educational authoritarianism. Gospel.
Next item for board consideration is the 2025-2026 graduation logistics. Superintendent Haber.
Yep, I feel like we had a really good discussion at the study session, and I just, if you have anything else you want to share, the only question I have is just how important, and if we already kind of talked about this, so if we feel like we've covered it, we don't need to talk about it anymore, and that is, what is the importance of keeping graduation within our community as opposed to going south to the Broadmoor World Arena? Yeah, it was just, that was just a question because that had come up. So just kind of wondered about that. But if I feel like we've discussed enough, I'm good with that too.
I'm happy to weigh in. I mean, we can all maybe kind of weigh in again. Not everybody gets to hear the study session and all of that. So I know for me personally, I think keeping it at the very least in the community is very important to community relationships and all of that. A couple of other questions I had, Superintendent Haber, after the meeting that I thought of later was, I know when we did 2021 graduation, my son graduated from Air Academy, COVID stuff, we did it at Liberty and we were issued tickets. We only had so many tickets for family members. We didn't talk about that at the study session. It did not come up in my, in my thoughts at the time, but that would be a consideration as we're talking about the reason why we are possibly changing is exclusion of people. And so if we're going to do it at Liberty High School, are we going to be issued tickets again where we are again excluding, people? Because at Clune, we don't have to, everyone can come. Now that might not be true for every high school, Pine Creek probably. So I know for Air Academy, we had tickets, but maybe some of the smaller high schools, you wouldn't have that. So that was just something I thought of, after the fact. I think also for me, and I know that we have to make a decision sooner than later, would again just be the data. So I know Megan had some really great data for her high school, 11 families out of the 600. 300? 300. Oh, sorry, I don't know where I got 600. Okay. Okay, thank you. 11 students out of the 300 experienced some kind of exclusion because of inability to get on base. So that was an awesome number. What is the totality of that number? How does that affect each high school? Are they all equally impacted that way? Or is that really just, and again, I'm asking that, but I know you have the final decision. So that was just two other things I thought of after the fact that I was like, I wish I would have asked.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I did ask them, I said, if you have data around that, I need to have it by the end of the day tomorrow. So I know that Mr. Knight will follow up with them to say, please send that data to her. If you have numbers of families who couldn't come because it was at Clune last year, we do need to have those numbers so we can make a decision. Thank you for stating that.
Yeah, and I do think we've talked about it a lot, but I do think if you can just provide a brief, like your feelings or thoughts on it in this format, it would be really valuable for transparency to our community. So who would like to go first? Director Payne, sorry.
President Shandy and Superintendent Haber, one, I want to thank you for having making the opportunity to have that work session and that topic. I thought it was so wonderful to have the principals here. My only regret is that it was such a short timeline, and I feel like I hope we didn't leave them to say like that was such valuable input. making a decision like that. And Colonel Herndon, the fact that you're here, I know you weren't here for that, but you know, I had written up a document of, you know, the history and all of that, which we've all seen, but also just some of the questions that we had when people are relaying the impact and those personal testimonies of our principals is something that we haven't had up until today. And so that thoughtful discussion is something that I personally think our community craves, but also Colonel Herndon, if you take this back to your superiors to break with that tradition of having graduations at Clune Arena, which have been, you guys have worked towards, I just would be curious, what have we had that discussion back with people at the Air Force Academy? And then lastly, like just hearing back from those data that you're able to get by tomorrow would be really helpful. So that's just to make an informed decision on your behalf.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And I did see Colonel Stallworth as he was making that transition and let him know that, you know, for various reasons, for accessibility, and that we were thinking about that, and you know, that was one reason why. And he said, well, thank you, and that, you know, implied that because he's really our liaison, and I'm glad to talk to you as well, Colonel Herndon, about that.
Well, no, and thank you for that. But, and I want to thank our principals because it's just was really nice to have them here and to hear like face to face. I only regret that I hope we didn't send them off discouraged. It was just a thoughtful conversation to say, what is the impact? What's the ripple effect? What could be the unintended consequences? Thank you.
Director Wilburn, or Colonel, did you
I
have?
was just going to state, I think it'd be helpful for us to understand some of those impacts too, and we can kind of continue the dialogue here. As you know, at the Air Force Academy, we have different configurations for installation access and control. For example, Saturday, we're having Fan Fest at Falcon Stadium. We will be in an open base posture, right? And so I think as you all are weighing the decision here, I would love to break out in a smaller group kind of conversation to maybe educate on the things we can do and the things we can't do in a situation like this.
That would be great. Director Wilburn.
Thank you, President Shandy. You said something that I hadn't thought of, and this would probably be easy enough to find out, and that is issuing of tickets because of limited seating capacity at the district stadium. I'm sure we know what the seating capacity of that stadium is. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's on the sheet we got.
I don't remember what it was.
We can seat 3,500, and there's room for additional seats, which we would provide. And so there would be no limitation. We had just under 4,000 as our maximum at Clune Arena. So there would be ample seating at the.
I have to ask then, why did we have limitations? It was
2021, there were COVID restrictions.
But we didn't have to sit 6 feet apart. It was just you only got so many tickets.
Well, I think
I was a principal in Denver. I don't know.
The math on that is probably pretty simple. So a large, our biggest school, Pine Creek, let's say there's 438 graduating seniors. If each one on average has 4 family members in tow, I mean, you can do that math pretty fast and figure out we need to restrict this. We don't have that at Clune. So I think that's a consideration. And traffic flow, I have so first of all, I'm a hard no on leaving the district. I think I've made that clear for a number of reasons concerning our desire to get the new Air Academy built and getting federal dollars that we were promised. And just moving that out of our community, I don't think is a good idea. Which District 20, moving it to the stadium now, our primary concerns, as I see it, are egress and ingress and parking, challenge getting in and out of there, and weather, right? I mean, it's May in Colorado. We all know what can happen. The principal's hearts is for all their students, as it should be. And I think that's admirable. So what it comes down to is, do we lean toward the interest of the many to protect the few, or vice versa? And that's a hard one. I mean, and I don't envy you, Superintendent Haber, having to make this call, because the principals have strong feelings, which is fine, which they should, as do some of us. But I think when we look at the possibility of having 3,200 people potentially sitting out in the rain so that we can assure that 9 families can attend. That's a big balance. You know, that's a tough one. The principals have made it clear. I think we're still a little bit divided, and ultimately the only person that really matters is you. So we can throw you right under that bus. But it's not an easy decision. It's not, but I am absolutely not in favor of moving out of the district. If we do move to the outdoor venue, I think there are logistical concerns that need to be considered. My primary one is we could not do 3 graduations a day in that venue. I don't think it's possible. I think we'd have to do 2 a day, and maybe even late morning, early evening, or something like that to alleviate the in-out problems of traffic. Because just getting in there last week for back to school bash, you know, I watched that stoplight turn red 3 times, and I was early. You know, I had to be there early. Last year, I didn't know because it was my first one, and we're supposed to be there at whatever 8 o'clock. So I left home at 7:40, and I watched that light turn green like 10 times before I got through it. And if we've got families of 350 graduating students trying to make a left onto Scarborough off of Research, as people are leaving at the same time from the previous graduation, it's going to be a problem. So logistically, we'd have to figure something out.
Okay. Director Yanez.
Thank you for that, Director Wilburn. I think it was a great conversation. A lot of things, you know, you think about impact versus intent. My gosh, I've said that to myself 4 million times in this role. And the intent is to provide access for all students, for all family members who might not have access when not in open base posture. I wrote that down so I knew how to really actually say it, Colonel. And so part of that is there might be some people that can't get on base for a graduation that students want there. And so I think where we left it was to get more information and have more conversations around that, seek understanding, get further perspectives, because really the bottom line is principals just want their kids' loved ones there to be able to celebrate them on that special day. That's really the crux of what we were discussing. And all of the parking and the weather, all of that is just really valid concerns that we need to walk through. I had 2 kids graduate at Clune, 1 on the field with you at Liberty D20 Stadium, sorry. And yeah, there, you know, being a West Side parent too, there is some tradition there that would be hard to give up. But also, how can we provide access for our students' families? We're focused on the student piece.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was a good summary. Vice President Collins, I got it right that time.
Okay, Colonel Herndon, I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't,
but
if you don't feel comfortable talking more about the open base posture, is that accurate? Right now, I mean, that's I feel like that, depending on what the answers are, what the capabilities are, could open up a lot more discussion. So I don't know. You don't have to tell us now, but I encourage you to tell Superintendent Haber, if not now, like by tomorrow, just so we know. I mean,
are you asking for the definition of open base?
What it looks like in action.
Sure, I can talk about open base as I know it now. Essentially, we set a route and cordon to allow individuals access to key facilities that they're attending. So if you are going to Clune Arena, you are allowed to drive on as long as you present some type of identification. You can drive on to the base, and we have attendants that work through parking and logistics, and then of course we've got ample kind of space.
Think that helps. So it doesn't mean gates are open, everyone's driving in without being stopped. That's kind of the key issue that we're trying to get at, I think.
It can.
I know, and
So,
we never know when that's
and
gonna happen.
maybe what we can do, I can set up in more detail, a breakout from Lieutenant Colonel Josh Height, who's our Security Forces Squadron Commander, some of the options that we have, as we always present those options then to the superintendent for final decision.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Because access for certain family members is the key issue. And
But as I mentioned, a good example of an open base posture this weekend, free and open to the public, is Falcon Fest. As long as you have a valid driver's license, you can come onto the base and go to Falcon Stadium. And so that is open base as we know it through the North Gate. And we can talk a little bit more in specifics about how we posture and set.
Okay. I think identification is kind of the key.
And you have processes to, like, people who are not U.S. citizens, who are citizens of other countries, you have processes that they can go through to get what they need to get on.
Absolutely. You all may be familiar with the QR codes and other ways to go and get screened for access to the installation, but that pathway is available.
Just President Shandy, I'd like to, Colonel Herndon, for everybody that's here though, and they may not know that. So people that maybe have had to have that opportunity, could you describe that a little bit? Because I think that's the core thing that people are trying to get around. And I think everybody's kind of saying it, but not really saying it. For someone that would not have identification, but with the QR code and how that works, can you just describe that so that the audience listening online and the people here can understand that?
Maybe if I can circle back to get you specifics. I don't want to,
Sure.
so new here, I don't want to misspeak on QR codes and the access process. But I do know that there is one.
Yeah.
I don't know all the components that are required to be entered for that vetting.
It does. I'm sorry.
I just said thank you.
It does raise an interesting question. I hadn't thought about this before. Security and clearance levels at the gate. So I'll be at FanFest Saturday, like I've been at every FanFest for the last 15 years. But on football Saturdays, 36,000 people filling into the stadium. They're just at the gates. You just drive right through. There's no identification or anything. Now, there's cones everywhere. There's security personnel every 50 meters. You can't go outside of where you're being directed to. All you can do is go to that lot, and all you can do is walk into the stadium. But at the gate, there's no, I mean, we've all done it, right? You just single file right through there. If that is something that we could get approved for graduation, now that wouldn't address people who aren't going to get in line and take the chance. Hey, I don't even want to try to get on that base, because even though I've been told it'll be okay, if it's not okay, I could be in a situation I don't want to be in. But outside of those handful of outliers, there may be another way to solve that.
That's the question I was getting is, can we have those kind of permissions? That's what I was hoping open base meant. Come on in,
How that
keep
happens,
driving.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
Coverable.
But so we would appreciate if you have time to look into that, the permissions, if that would be possible during graduations.
Absolutely. I will actually first thing tomorrow sync with my team and we'll get the information to the board writ large on how we can scale and flex.
We appreciate that. Ms. Allen, I do want to finish my thoughts real quick, but Ms. Allen, were you going to say something?
Just wanted to share, those are some questions that we asked this spring. The answer may change. I'll just share what we learned at that time, because we had those same questions with that cordon. We said, so do people still need their ID? And what we were told is, it very well may be, okay, just go through. But they said you need to let people know that it is possible that we would stop a vehicle. So that is what they said at that point. They said it was always possible because of it being a federal installation. But Colonel Herndon, I think the information, I just wanted to share with you what we were told in the spring, but we'd love the update would be very helpful for a lot of for not only graduation, but for many of our activities.
Sure. No, and that's accurate to my knowledge, time now. But again, tomorrow I will circle up with my team and we will get you a fairly fulsome update on kind of the flexibility that we have in an open base posture versus a closed base posture.
Thank you, Colonel. Director Cons.
Thanks. Well, thanks for jumping right in on your first board
Yeah,
meeting.
welcome.
It's true. I think we have even seen from graduation to graduation in the same day.
Mhm.
Some people are waved right through for the first graduation and then they're IDing. So I totally respect that it may change. And even a broader issue that we looked at with graduation access is just the security level fluctuations nationally for bases. And so sometimes all people need is their ID, and then sometimes they need to get a base pass or DBIDS card or DOD card or whatever. And so, I mean, we hit that this summer with multiple swim meets there at the natatorium, and every single parent, every single attendee had to go get those base passes. So that's something that's not going to change. Anyway, I shared it in the study session that I deferred to what the principals wanted because they know their families. I don't have a strong feeling either way. I really, sorry to go against the grain, but I don't have a strong feeling even about the World Arena. I understand we respect our community and we have such a strong, close-knit community up here on the north side of town. But I mean, I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. It's a big city, and everyone had to go to the Tucson Convention Center. It just wasn't a deal, unless it was a small enough school to do it on the football field. And so I just think it change is hard, whatever our change might be, if there is a change. But I don't foresee it. I just think it's so common to have it at your biggest facility in the city, in any given city, that's why I just don't feel strongly. But I totally respect our partnership, especially our tight linkage with the Air Force Academy, with Schools on Base, with all the wonderful relationships we have. I don't want to negate that. I'm just looking at what's best for all of our families. So that's all.
Superintendent Haber, do you have anything you want to follow up on? I did. Yep.
So what I heard from the principals is they were adamant about every single family being able to access graduation. And we even had one principal said one family not being able to go is one too many because our students work hard to get their diplomas and they want their families there. And unfortunately, we totally understand that the regulations respect them, but we may have families that don't have the necessary identification to access, and even their situations we've gone through. We talked to several people last time because this issue came up again. So with all of the principals really locking arms around that, like needing access for all families, would love, if you find, I would love to follow up, Becky, and I'll follow up with you and just kind of have a more in-depth conversation. We can share more information about those families that either tried to get on or didn't want to. And so just to make sure, as Ms. Deputy Allen said, that I'm assuming they're the same, but appreciate your willingness to jump in, and you've already been a great partner with another situation we had, and we're like, oh, this Liza, he's going to be wonderful. We love Colonel Hurdon already. So thank you, and we look forward to connecting with you around that, but it was very clear to me that that was the stance of our principals, and so I'll work together with Mr. Knight, and we'll figure out what the best solution is going to be. And if there's still those limitations for certain families who don't have the necessary identification, then with all the principals really wanting, really adamant about every family being able to access graduation, I think we'll be in a position that we'll have to look at a different venue. But we definitely would love to keep working with you. And if there is something we can work out there, we'd love that, because Clune is amazing. And, I've just appreciated that partner. And we have other partnerships too, right? Like we're building 2 brand new schools for the military families and the back to school bash. And I know what I appreciate about you already is even when we were talking at the back to school bash, you're like, we could do this. And what have we thought about having our junior Air Force or ROTC partner with us? And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. So even if it ends up that we don't have graduation at Clune, please know we are always wanting to partner more with USAFA and build those partnerships between our schools, especially that are on base. And we'd love to invite you to Air Academy High School's homecoming game. Even the general, because I know his wife listens to the marching band, and he's like, invite us. So we'll find lots of ways to scoop you guys in.
Director Payne, did you have one last thing?
Yeah, I just want to say, as we've had this conversation over today since 9 o'clock this morning, each moment we've had this conversation, additional data points have been asked for. And that one of those things is, will there be people that will not be able to attend, families that will not be able to go watch their graduate, grandparents or such, because an open stadium environment which exposes them to the elements. And I think that's a very thoughtful thing of a consequence that we can foresee, and that should be discussed and considered in this, because I think we're trying to make sure that families that are fearful of being stopped by law enforcement or federal law enforcement or on the academy because they don't have identification. That could also happen at our arena if a posture changes for safety or threats where law enforcement supports the safety of our mission at our stadium. They could have a high level of presence, just like we have it here, and at any point they can ask someone for their identification. So I just want to make that clear.
Okay. All right. Mr. Belcher, how many people signed up to speak during public comment section 2?
7 folks this evening.
Thank you. The board president will recognize each speaker, and consistent with GP 4.04, the comments will be curtailed if remarks or behavior becomes inappropriate. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a speaker's statement that is unrelated to the business of the school district, inappropriate for K through 12 students, or disruptive to an orderly, civil, and productive meeting. Thank you for cooperation, Mr. Belcher.
All right, for our public comments this evening, if you're up next, please feel free to come to the front row for us. Our first commenter is Ryan Werner, followed by Tim Hoffman. Ryan? Don't see Ryan in attendance. Mr. Hoffman? All right, our next commenter is Veronica Baker, followed by Cindy Feskin. Veronica?
Good evening, members of the board. I feel fortunate this year. My student who receives special education services has a seasoned case manager, an in-person speech provider, and mental health support. I'm grateful for that, but many families I know are not as lucky. Out of 162 jobs currently listed on the D20 openings page, 57, over a third, are special education positions. This is not a small gap, it's a crisis. For example, last year's reallocation of the resource department at Air Academy caused the loss of experienced special education staff, and it happened in other schools too. While the narrative was no one lost their job, the reality is we lost dedicated educators. Cheyenne Mountain School District gained one of our best case managers, and we lost a long-standing SSN teacher mid-year. This is just one school. Multiply this throughout our schools in the district. With 57 positions open, we cannot afford to lose even one more. Do we know why they are leaving? Do we know where they are going? At the retreat today, I heard we need to change the narrative around special education, but narratives don't change because we talk about them. They change when the actions behind them change. Without meaningful action, a change narrative is just PR. Parents, teachers, and staff are the most powerful voices in sharing a positive story. Without their buy-in, you have nothing. If you truly want to bear a better narrative, start by listening to the community, understand the problems, why they persist, and take concrete steps to fix them. Without action, there is no buy-in. Without buy-in, there is no change. Our students can't wait for a story. They need solutions. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Cindy Feskin, followed by Brett Dayberry.
Hi, I'm Cindy Feskin, a retired principal, teacher, and parent of 2 District 20 graduates, and I've been in the district for over 35 years. I'm here to express my support for the current policy governance model used by the District 20 board. I was in the district when the decision was made to move to policy governance as a way of being efficient and honoring the positive and professional climate District 20 holds dear. As a Navy brat, to me, policy governance is like the board being the Secretary of the Navy, and the superintendent is Chief of Naval Operations. Principals are the captains of their ships and teachers are their officers, etc. The Secretary of the Navy sets big goals like the board ends and is not involved in the day-to-day operations or specific steps to achieve them. Daily operations are carried out by officers and enlisted service members with integrity. Policy governance is an efficient and effective way of allowing the experts in education to make the day-to-day decisions to support our students. The board sets the ends, and the administration, teachers, and staff develop and implement the steps to meet them. That's why we have site plans. Our administrators and teachers hold professional degrees and licenses and continually take classes to improve their effectiveness. Students deserve to have these experts determine their educational plans and goals. Teachers deserve to be treated like the professionals they are and not to be micromanaged by individuals who may not have that expertise. Please reject Resolution 248-25 so the board continues to govern, not manage, the education of our students. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Brett Dayberry, followed by Emily Hain.
School board election season is upon us. Moms for Liberty is dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend the parental rights at all levels of government. Through their foundation, made up of hundreds of thousands of members and donors, they defend the principle that parents are the ultimate decision makers in their child's life. Let me repeat that. They believe parents are the ultimate decision makers in their child's life. In the last school board elections, 100% of local candidates endorsed by Moms for Liberty won their races. But now, for this upcoming election, we have a community member, Joel Sorensen, who has purportedly advised conservative board member candidates in D20 and D11 not to seek the endorsement of Moms for Liberty. What's worse is that these candidates seem to be taking his advice. We have a candidate here in D20, Susan Payne, who has purportedly done so. These candidates would put themselves on the same side of the ledger in regards to Moms for Liberty as the ultra-leftists. These leftists feel that an organization that believes as they do should be labeled as a hate group. Again, election season is here. Personally, I will not support any board candidate who shuns Moms for Liberty. Ultimately, one either supports the parents' right to raise their kids, or the state will raise, their kids. The word that you guys were all bouncing around that nobody had the balls to use is illegal alien.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Our next speaker is Emily Hain, followed by Liz Walcox.
Hey, we're new to town. Again, I grew up here, but anyway, but already I can feel the barrier of trust with the board. I'd like to attempt the impossible by building a bridge while also pointing out some of the hurdles to trust I've encountered in the couple months since we've gotten here. And my first boss, my job, did one thing really well. He hired newbies to get their fresh perspectives. So here it is. I'm an engineer, so it's pretty blunt. What do you do when you start looking at things? You duck, duck, go it, right? And here's what I came up with. Colorado Times reporter, lawsuit alleges D20 board candidate defrauded military health insurance. Goodness. Then I read District 20 Accountability Project's D20 board quietly moves to expand control and step away from policy governance brought by that same now elected candidate. Oh my goodness. So you got me pretty fired up here, like what's going on? I want to say I really appreciate, Ms. Kontz, that you started this meeting by saying that you're going to pull back on 24825, you were not in a hurry. I really appreciated that you guys are taking more public comment and really taking your time on that. I'm sure I'm just seeing one angle of this elephant. And as I try to see the whole animal, may I ask Mr. Wilburn, what is the best way to ask a question? I've also heard that the member I mentioned earlier has a remarkable reputation as a special educator. I've heard that the concerns of the government model are not, is that it isn't a fast model, and sometimes we need faster decisions. I can relate to that, so maybe there are ways we can improve governance without being as upsetting, although I'm not, in the weeds on that. So I really appreciated that at the emergency meeting last month, you delayed 24825. I thought that was an act of good faith.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Our next speaker is Liz Walcox.
Good evening. My name is Liz Wilcox. I live in District 20. I have 3 adult children who graduated from District 20 schools and 2 grandchildren who currently attend District 20. By way of background, I hold a Master of Science in Management and a Master of Education in Special Education. I will speak briefly about the subject of policy governance. What issue is the board trying to solve by tossing aside a framework that has served D20 so well that we have been accredited with distinction for 15 consecutive years? Possibly correlation, possibly causation. It seems remiss of the board to not hold any public meetings or meetings with other stakeholders to determine if a problem exists. Is this simply another secret being kept from us to distract us? Was a root cause analysis done to get to the crux of any supposed shortcoming of the current model? If not, why not? If so, what was the outcome? Where are the notes? This board has proven itself untrustworthy to the point of constituents being fed up with everything they see coming out of it. Only 1 meeting per month when previously there were 2. Only 2 minutes to speak when previously there were 3. No clapping, no cheering, no snapping fingers, no posters, placing meeting members in time out while you recess in secret to decide how next to treat your constituents like your own children. Thank you.
All right, Superintendent Howard, do you have any clarifications or next steps?
I do not.
All right, happy birthday to Director Wilburn on August 9th. We will spare you from singing. Was our business this evening focused on activities that promote and honor our mission statement, our belief statements, and our global end statement that remind us that all students will have knowledge, skills, and character necessary for a successful transition to the next level, and upon graduation will be fully prepared for success? Did the board hear information tonight that would require the review or revision of a policy? That would be my clarification on adding the category for 2.6. Did the board hear information tonight that would require a new policy? Director Cons?
Yes, so not tonight, but today in our board retreat, we did talk about the work of Portrait of a Graduate.
Yes.
And connecting that operational administrative work to our board ends to really align the vision and how it's being implemented in the schools. So I think we want to get that on, I don't know, study session or a board meeting agenda.
Yes, to look at our ends that.
I forget which we decided.
The Portrait of a Graduate, yes.
Yeah, that's fine. We can figure out where it fits, but so we're going to be looking at our ends, 1.1 and 2, and maybe adding a 3 or somehow incorporating.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, did the board hear information tonight that, I already did that one. Did the board hear information tonight that the board would like to include on a future agenda? And that's what you just said. Very good.
President Chandy.
Director Yanez.
We also heard from Dr. Lujan Lindsay regarding the MANT system.
Yeah.
That, in addition to CPI, which is a comprehensive, I'm looking it up and reading directly from my phone, comprehensive training program focused on de-escalation, crisis prevention, and behavior management. And it is part of trauma-informed practices. So we wanted to talk learn more, just simply learn more about it. Presentation.
Yeah, so we want to add that as a presentation to our future meeting, maybe September, October. Yeah. Director Payne.
Well, and I don't know if this is appropriate, but one of the things I wanted to circle back, obviously we went over the draft that I provided on the policy governance versus open, like everything that we've been talking about, but would it be appropriate when we talk about hosting that roundtable opportunity for education for the board and the superintendent on policy governance and inviting Karen Reynolds to be part of that along with Glenn Street and who was the other one from CDE?
Dan, somebody.
I just wanted to make sure that we're deliberate and thoughtful that is going to happen because we all desire more information and to talk about where we are now. And I appreciate the historical perspective of what happened 20 years ago and what's worked for a district. And that's something I just we've had that very thoughtful discussion, but those next steps I want to make sure are listed in tonight's meeting. Is that appropriate?
Yep. Okay. Excellent. Very good. There are 15 people viewing the live stream. There is no executive session tonight, and this meeting is adjourned.